Hello everyone, this is Orlando from A Collector's Dream. And we just got back from the National and boy did I see some incredible cards there, and a lot of them I tried to get them on video, especially the vintage, the high grade vintage cards. I showed the Diamondbacks collection and a lot of other really high-end vintage cards. Those are so rare to find. Anything vintage from the 50s and below, older than the 50s, that are in PSA 8 or PSA 9s. Those are really tough to find. So I kind of said, let me do my a mini D-backs collection and show some of my vintage cards that are graded PSA 8s. I don't have a lot of them because most of the time, especially vintage, when you're talking about cards from the 60s and the 50s and older than that, I'm happy if I can pick up a 6 or even a 7. Those are high grades when you're talking about cards from the 50s and 60s and even way back further than that. So I wanted to kind of go through a few of my higher grade cards. So that's kind of what I did. I went through and I looked at my my 50s, 60s, a little bit before that, and went all the way back to the 1800s and picked up, just kind of pulled out some of my really high grade cards, all graded PSA 8s, and just to show you my little mini high grade cards. Like I said, most of my cards are going to be, especially in the vintage area, they're going to be graded mostly like 6s, 5, 6, and 7. And those pretty much are high grades. So I just want to start, first of all, showing you just a few little cards here that are some of my higher graded cards. So this one here is a Red Man tobacco. And this came with a pack of chewing tobacco. And you can see there that it says Red Man Big League, Red Man chewing tobacco. And these came in really with a bunch of tobacco in there for chewers. See, Red Man chewers. And it also came with it has a little coupon down at the bottom here. And most of the ones you're gonna find, the coupons have been cut because these stubs, you use them to get Major League Baseball caps and other little things that they would give. So I want to show you some of these. This is it's a big card. I'm going to show it first. And this one is the Pee Wee Reese in an 8. So all the ones I'm going to show you here are graded high grade, which is an 8. For vintage, 8 is a really high grade. This is a 1955 Red Man tobacco, Pee Wee Reese. And there's Pee Wee Reese, the great Brooklyn Dodgers shortstop. And you see in the bottom it says cut along this line. So many people went ahead and did cut along the line. So it's very tough to find these Redman cards. First, to find them with the tab, and second, to get them in a condition like a PSA 8. They are big cards compared to the other ones. You can see the size of these things. They're almost twice as big. So these were very easily damaged, especially when they came in that bag full of tobacco. So I was able to pick up this Pee Wee Reese. I actually picked it up raw and graded them. Most of the cards you're going to find here, especially in the 60s and 70s, the 50s and 60s, I'm going to show you. I ended up grading those myself. So here is the Pee Wee Reese, the Redman tobacco Pee Wee Reese from 1955 in a PSA 8. I think this is the only one that exists in a PSA 8 from Pee Wee Reese. So I want to give you a good look at that card and just show you what it looks like. Very sharp, great condition. And that's a beautiful card. I like these because they're nice and big. And you get a good shot of them. And it's a nice picture of the players. So I'll give you a good look at that card before I move on to the next one. So this is the Pee Wee Reese 55 Redmond and a PSA 8. All these are going to be PSA 8 cards. Like I said, most of my cards are not in an 8. Most of my cards are anywhere between a 5 and a 7. And for vintage, that's the grade I'm happy with. So that's the Redmond Tobacco Pee Wee Reese. Next one I'm going to show you is a Roberto Clemente, and this is a 1969 Clemente. Oh, hold on, this is stuck together. This is a 69 Clemente. So I'll show you the back of it first. You can see number 50. It has a little stuff, but that's on the case. So that's the Clemente from 1969, also in an 8. All these cards I'm going to show you in an 8. Most of these are going to be in the old holders, the old PSA holders, because I sent these in to be graded myself. So here's the Roberto Clemente in an 8 from 1969. Take a good look at that. I really like Clemente. I will show you my Clemente cards at a future date. I wanted to show some cards that I have not shown before in my videos. So that's what I'm doing today, just showing you some of my higher graded cards that I have not shown. So this is a 69 Clemente in a PSA 8. I love that card. I'll give you a good look at these cards. Most of you already have this card in your collection. It's not a rare card or anything like that. But once you get to the higher grades, they're just a lot tougher to find. So I'm going to move on now to the 50s, the 1950s. And in the 50s, this is part of my 59 set. And if you haven't seen, I have graded a lot of these cards already. Some of the ones that I thought would grade higher, I went ahead and sent them in, like this new Schneider, and the next one you'll see, which is the Bob Gibson. I do have, in my last video that I graded some 59s, I have this whole set. So I graded one of the common players, which was Billy Pierce, to see how it would grade with SGC, and I did get an 8 on that. So I probably have some more 8s in that collection. That's one of the sets that I did not sell. I kept that because it was a high grade set. So here's the Duke Schneider from 1959 in an 8. And Duke Schneider was an incredible player. And back in the 50s, the 3 top players in the league were Willie, Mickey, and the Duke, which was Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, and Duke Schneider. They were the best players of that era. Even though, you know, that's subjective, of course. You know, I would include people like Yogi Berra in there, but he was considered one of the top 3 players of that era. Duke Schneider, 1959 Duke Schneider in an 8. And this is a beautiful card. The only thing it has is a tiny little thing on the border over here, but other than that, the corners are super sharp, and it's nicely centered, and it's an 8. What can I say? I don't have a lot of 8s in my collection, especially because I do a lot, mostly vintage. Most of my vintage is 50s, 60s, and a lot older than that. So here is Duke Schneider. So I'll move on and show you another one here, which is the another 1959 card. And this is the Bob Gibson rookie card. And this again was part of my 59 set that I sent in to get graded many years ago. And I graded the Mantle also here, and a bunch of other ones. If you go back and look at my SGC reveal, you're going to see a lot of my 59s that I graded with SGC just about a month ago. So here is the Bob Gibson rookie card. I didn't know that Bob's nickname was Hoot. but it says it right there. Bob's nickname is Hoot, back in when he first started. So this is Bob Gibson rookie card in an 8. 1959 Topps Bob Gibson, Yeoman 8. It's a nice, beautiful card. You could see the corners are nice and sharp. It's just a nice card. It looks like it came right out of the pack with a nice gloss. You know, some of these, I mean, you really got to see them in person to see how nice and clean these cards look. But again, anything graded an 8 or higher in vintage is very, very tough to come by. And, you know, they're going to be very nice. They're going to be almost brand new because they didn't come out of the packs as 8s. You know, most of the cards that came out of the packs, you know, in those days, they're going to come out, you know, 6, 7s and something like that. So very, very difficult to get this Bob Gibson rookie in an 8. I was just lucky to get that with my set a long time ago. But I want to give you guys a good look at some of my higher grade vintage. You know, when I was at the so let me move on to the next one here. So that's the Bob Gibson. I'll go ahead and kind of make some room so you can see them all here. I got a few more to come. So my next one is one of my favorite cards of all time, and this is the Ted Williams. I have not shown you any of my Ted Williams cards, but I will be showing those in a future video. But the 1957 set, and this is a 1957 Ted Williams. I had this entire set. Unfortunately, I had to sell the set to get some of the cards that I've shown you in my previous videos. Some of my really, really nice mantles and some of my other high grade cards, you know, not 8s, but higher grade cards. So the thing was that I kept this Ted Williams because it was such a beautiful card and because it's the #1 card of the set. And I also kept the mantle. And you could see my mantle in the my mantle collection. So here is the #1 card for the 1957 set, and that's Ted Williams. So the thing, and here it is, Ted Williams 57 Topps, Ted Williams in an 8. This set was the first set that had the cards of a standard size, the size that we see today. Before this, the 1956 and before, they were bigger cards. So this was the first set that was established as the standard for cards. But I just love this card. It's just a great picture of Ted, showing him with the bat swinging, one of the best players. Again, most of these guys were all big-time Hall of Famers. So I wanted to show you some of my little mini high grade, some of my mini collection. I call it the mini Diamondbacks collection here because you saw some of the other things in the videos that I showed, like the Diamondbacks collection, that, you know, everything he had was 8 and 9. You know, most of my stuff is 6 or 7s. So here is the 1957 Ted Williams in an 8. It's a beautiful card. Just Ted Williams, what can you say? So I'm going to put this one off to the side there. Now we're going to get to the really, really rare stuff here. And some of these cards I'm going to show you, the next two are the only cards that grade 8. So these are cards that not even the Diamondbacks collection has. And this is my oldest card that I have in high grade, and it's an 1887. The only thing with this card, it has like a little nick there. And I think that's what took it down. But this is an 1887 Old Judge. And that's in an 8. I guess a 92. I don't know if a 92 in these old slabs is an 8 or an 8.5. I'm not real sure, but I think it is just an 8. No, actually, this is an 8.5, because if you look at this, this says near mint 8. Yeah, I just realized that, and this says near mint plus. So I'm assuming this is an 8.5. I probably should get this one re-slabbed in the new SGC holders. But I wanted to show you, this is an 1887 Old Judge cigarettes, Jack Clements. It's the N172. And there's like just a handful. This is a huge set, one of the largest sets. It's bigger than the T206 set, but it's a huge set. And there's hardly any, there's just a handful of 9s in this set that exist. So then this, of course, is the highest graded Jack Clements card. An Old Judge. An Old Judge and an 8.5. Look at that picture of that card. These were all taken in the studio, because in those days, to take a picture, it took a while, and they had to expose it. And I mean, you had to stand still for a couple of minutes for the picture to come out. It wasn't just a quick flash and that's the picture. So none of these were taken. There's no action shots or anything like that. They were fake action shots. But this is an Old Judge, 1888 Old Judge. Check out the corners on that card. Look at that. It's just in mint condition. This is how these cards came right out of the tobacco packs, and they were in tobacco packs. Try to give you a good look at these if I can. Check out the corner. These are pretty thick cards, but they're really beautiful cards. And they have actual pictures of the players, and that's what I really like. See, here's Jack Clements. I guess he's, try to get you a good picture. This thing won't focus too good on me here. Trying to get a good focus picture so you can see it better. But anyway, here it is. One of my high grade 1900s card, and high grade 8.5 Old Judge. There's very few of these Old Judges that even grade 8 or higher. It's, like I said, just maybe a handful of them. And they do have the blank backs. See, it's completely blank back, just a piece of cardboard with the picture pasted on top. So I wanted to give you guys a good look at a high grade 1800s cards. These are extremely rare in this kind of condition, of course. So that's the Old Judge cigarettes, 1887 Jack Clements in an 8.5. And the last card I want to show you is a card that it's from my Goodwin Champions collection. And the Goodwin Champions collection is, oops, sorry about that, guys, knocked over the camera. But my Goodwin Champions collection is really the best one. It's #1 on the PSA registry. So take a look at that. If you want to see the whole collection, take a look in my older videos. But I want to show you a card from there that in an 8, extremely rare. I have a few of the non-sports players in an 8, but this is my only baseball card from the Goodwin Champions in an 8. And when I was at the show, I mean, I didn't see any of these cards over there. This is the Tim Keefe card. The Tim Keefe in an 8. So you want to take a good look at that card. So this card is, I did trade the 4 that I had to get my Cap Anson. And the reason I traded the 4 is because I had this one. This is the highest graded Tim Keefe card from the 1888 champions. There is none graded higher. Apologize for the ringing there. Maybe some noise in the background. I apologize for that. But here is the N162 Goodwin champion Tim Keefe in a near mint 8. When I was at the YouTube party at the Claridge Hotel that night, I spoke to a few of the collectors there and the people that I admire and the people with some incredible collections. And I think it was Silver Jackify or New York Yanks fans. One of them asked me during the conversation, what is one of your best cards? And I told them that it was this Tim Keefe in an 8 because it is one of my favorite cards, and it is the highest graded Tim Keefe card that exists. So I wanted to give you a good look at it, and I wanted to give Silver Jackify and Vince and all the other guys that asked me about some of my top cards. And I had shown, this was the one, I have shown this before in my 1888 Goodwin set, but I thought I'd go ahead and show it one more time because this is a card that's going back in the safe and you're never gonna see this card. It's really the highest graded. It is the highest graded. There are no 9s at all graded from the N162 Goodwin champions. There is no 9. And any player, even the non-sports, no 9s have ever been graded. And the highest baseball players are 8s. There's a few 8s out there. But this is the best Tim Keefe card that there is from the N162 Goodwin champions. Give you a real good look at that card. You can see how nice that card is. It's nicely centered. Look at the corners on that thing. I mean, it's just a rare card from 1888. Super sharp. It is one of my favorite cards. I was asked, what is one of your favorite cards? And this was one of them. I just love the picture, the mustache. I mean, this is a perfect reflection of how the players looked in 1888. Most of them had these bushy mustaches, and look at the cap that they had in those days. I mean, and the uniforms is just so neat. You know, this is what made me collect these 1800 cards. It's just a different era. And if you don't know about Tim Keefe was the top pitcher in the 1800s. He was Cy Young before Cy Young. He won over 300 games. He had the most strikeouts in that era. I think he had, I don't remember right now off the bat, but I think he had over 2,500 strikeouts. He had years where he won 40 games. And these guys, they were incredible. They would pitch the entire game. And in some cases, they would pitch, more than 9, 10, 11 innings straight. There was no bullpen back in those days. So these were some of the, really Iron Men of the old days. So I did want to show the Tim Keefe. In the back, all the Goodwin champion cards are the same. They have the checklist of all the players you could see here. Let's see if I can get a good look at it here. You could see all the players. All of the, there's 50 cards to this set. And again, if you want to see the complete set, you can look at my Goodwin Champion set. And this card will be there. But it is one of my favorite cards. And I wanted to show it off a little bit more here because I was asked about this card during the get-together at the Claridge where all the YouTubers were. And I mentioned it. I figured let me go ahead and show it again so you can take a good look at that. But it's a beautiful card, beautifully centered. It's Tim Keefe, one of the top players in those days. So anyway, guys, I wanted to give you guys a quick look at some of my PSA 8 graded vintage This is kind of my little mini Diamondbacks collection. I have a few more, but I pulled out some of the ones that I like the best, but I don't have too many graded 8 cards. Most of mine are going to be, as you'll see in my collection, are going to be, because they're vintage and ultra vintage, I guess. You'll see most of those cards my cards are going to be in anywhere between 5 and 7. Those are the ones that I usually collect. But when I run across a nice card like this, an 8, which is extremely rare, and I can get it at a reasonable price, I'll jump on it. And most of these, again, I've had them for many, many years. So really tough to come by. But I wanted to give you guys just a quick look at some of my older cards that are in high grade. So anyway, guys, I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone that's subscribed to my channel. Because of the National and the people I met at the National and the people that have helped me along with my channel, I have finally surpassed 600 subscribers, which is an incredible, only being around for 7 months, having 600 subscribers, I'm extremely happy. I think before I went to the National, I had 400 subscribers, and all of a sudden, I've got 600. So I want to thank everyone for liking, subscribing, and commenting on my channel. I will respond to all the comments, but I wanted to give you guys a good look at some of my higher end vintage cards. So thank you so much, everyone. Have an awesome day, and I'll be releasing some more videos very, very soon. Thank you again. This is Orlando from A Collector's Dream.